What's going on, everyone? Happy Friday to everyone. Hopefully everyone is doing well, having a good week so far. We are now about to enter the weekend, and let's talk about the weekend forecast, and of course the all-important forecast for the West Coast, where we will have to deal with the remains. Well, at that point will be the remains of what is Hurricane Hilary. Hurricane Hilary is a Category 4 hurricane at this point. It has 939 millibar pressure, 145 mile per hour winds, and is moving northwest at 10 miles per hour. This storm system is expected to impact parts of Mexico, and it is expected to have an impact on California. In fact, in Southern California, the first ever tropical storm watches have been issued. As far as I know, these are the first time that you have ever seen tropical storm watches, and yes, here they come. As you can see here, this is the track. 6 a.m. Monday, it's going to be over Southern California. You'll start to feel impacts probably even as early as tomorrow, because there's going to be rain well ahead of this system, and it's going to be a long duration event when it comes to rain. There will be some wind. We're not terribly concerned about the wind. The bigger threat is going to be flash flooding and maybe even a tornado threat. Let's take a look at Hilary on infrared satellite right now. You can see this is a relatively healthy system. There is a pretty well sustained eye wall with this system at this time. You can see it's moving northwest, as the National Hurricane Center said. And when we take a look at the national satellite picture, you can see here it is. It's at the very bottom here, starting to show up. And something else we're starting to see show up. Look in the middle of the country. See that haze? Yes, once again, wildfire smoke is entering the picture. Yes, it's going to enter the Mid-Atlantic region too. It's a big problem in the Northwest. It's a big problem in the North Plains, the Great Lakes. There's a lot of places that are dealing with air quality issues at this time. We'll take a look at them in a little bit. First off, we got to show you this, the hazards map. There's a lot of stuff going on here. There's your air quality alerts up in the upper Midwest. The Central Plains, we have big heat issues, excessive heat advisories, warnings, watches, and that even goes into the Pacific Northwest. Then look here, down into the Southwest U.S. Yes, flash flood watches. There's already some showers and thunderstorms with even a couple flash flood warnings up. And you can see here, here's that tropical storm watches that are up for portions of California. Wind Sunday into Monday, when you're going to see gusty winds, heavy rainfall, maybe even an isolated tornado or two. It is possible. Let's take a look at radar here. Showers and thunderstorms down in Florida. That's that stall boundary we've been talking about all week. We have showers up here in New England. There were some thunderstorms. There were a couple tornado reports in New England this morning. I'll show you that in a little bit. And you can see here in the Four Corners region, showers and thunderstorms continue. And all eyes, of course, this weekend are going to be on what happens in California, Nevada, even in the Rockies, the northern portions of the West Coast. Yes, it's concerning. All right, we have to talk about the air quality. It is a big issue for many places at this point. Look at this. From the Pacific Northwest, you can see here, whoa, I'm seeing some 400s now. That's really concerning. Up into Canada. Yes, Canada, you're seeing bad air quality. It continues. Then it comes down to the Dakotas, through Minnesota, all the way down into the Mid-Atlantic. We have air quality issues. If you are sensitive, maybe you have COPD, asthma, something that, it's a respiratory issue. If you have bad allergies, I hate to tell you this, you might want to limit your time outside this weekend. This is going to be a problem throughout the weekend. It will improve slightly in the west with that Hilary coming northward, but again, for the time being, you're seeing some pretty bad issues. That's where the highest values are at this time, but the most widespread issues are going to be in the east. It may look fine in the northeast right now. We'll have to watch what happens there. I think this may spread to you as well. Pennsylvania is starting to go downhill. I was looking at some traffic cameras in central Pennsylvania, and yes, on the higher up elevation, Interstate 99, yeah, in the distance, you can see the haze moving in, so yes, it is a problem. All right, let's go to the Storm Prediction Center. Look at these storm reports. Yes, three tornado reports up there. I believe they're all in Rhode Island and Massachusetts today. So yes, there have been some storm reports, and yes, tornado reports. And as you can see here, not a lot to report for the rest of today. Tomorrow is actually a quiet storm day, day 3. You see this marginal risk out west in Arizona and California. Yep, that's potentially what could be a tornado threat. We'll have to watch as this evolves. Alrighty, moving on back to the tropical situation. Yes, look at this in the Atlantic. You have not one, not two, not three, 4 potential tropical waves at this point. And there is one here in the eastern Atlantic that is, at this point, it is, hey, code red, 70%. Then just to the west of that, there's a 40%. We're going to see a 40% area in the Gulf. And then we have this guy right here that is at 30%. So we will probably see our next named system within the next week out of one of these disturbances. Maybe perhaps this code red. So we'll have to keep an eye on this. I think the more eastern system, likely a recurve. But this stuff that's closer, it is worth watching. A lot of times models do not pick up on systems until they have a developed low-level circulation. So it's something we will have to keep an eye on. Alrighty, let's take a look at the models for the West Coast. Here's Hilary right here. This is the GFS. You can see Hilary will start to weaken. It's going to come into cooler waters. It might undergo an eye wall replacement cycle, which will do a downplane of the winds. And then you can see what happens here. The system goes right over California, does kind of on the border of Arizona, but it's a little bit more to the west. Should this track happen, tornado threat would be a little bit more to the west. There would be some shower activity in Arizona, but California would get a lot of heavy rainfall. How much rainfall? I think we're looking at possibility of isolated 3 to 5 inch amounts, or actually, we'll go with widespread 3 to 5 inch amounts with isolated 4 to 8 inches, because there is going to be some heavier areas that do set up with this. Let's take a look at the European. We want to take a look at rainfall amounts on the European, and the European is impressive as well. Look at this, widespread 3 to 5 inches with locally 5 plus, and you can see the timing that we're looking at this, Sunday into Monday, up here in the northern portion of the western U.S. You're looking more so Monday into Tuesday morning. Then eventually it's going to just pretty much fall apart as it goes up into Canada. But look at this. I'm going to advance the European. You can see fairly quiet. You do get a couple thunderstorm chances here in the Great Lakes region, but overall this is a quieter pattern now. What we're going to be turning our eyes to, let's go back to the GFS. What we're going to be turning our eyes to, and I just mentioned this briefly, is the tropics now. You can see there's going to be multiple disturbances. Oh, look at this. GFS post 200 hours, so grain of salt. It is showing a potential for some tropical activity now on the East Coast. Will that happen? Likely not the way the GFS says, but it's just saying, hey, we need to raise our eyebrows and pay attention. It's coming into the peak of the tropical season. All right, taking a look at temperatures here. You can see, yes, the Central Plains are going to be very, very hot this weekend. That's where the biggest axis of the heat's going to be. Generally, a nice weekend in the Northeast. The problem is that wildfire smoke, it does come into play, and we'll have to see just how much it comes into play. As we head into next week, not that bad in the Northeast, but look at the plains. Whoa, the GFS here. Iowa, 115 degrees, and you know the heat index would be higher than that. Heat index would be north of 120. This is likely too extreme, but even if it is, you're talking 100 to 110. That's record-breaking heat. And it's not just one day, 2 days, it's day after day after day. Eventually it gets suppressed back south, but that's something we'll have to watch. And if heat like that builds up, let's go back to precipitation real quickly. If a boundary should come into play, there would likely be some energy at play. That wildfire smoke comes down, and as you know, that would be a thunderstorm threat late next week, not early next week. So it's something we need to keep our eyes on, and this is dangerous heat should that happen. Alrighty, let's take a look at some climate data here, or 1 through 7 precipitation data, and you can see the Weather Prediction Center. Widespread 3 to 5 inches of rainfall. Where you're seeing these oranges, that's 5 plus. 5 to 7 inches, even 7 plus inches of rainfall being advertised here for Nevada, California, western portions of Arizona, and southwest portions of Utah. So we will pay attention. Idaho, Oregon, 2 to 4 inches of rainfall for you with Hilary. And again, folks, we will be doing updates on Hilary throughout the week, and we'll have an update tomorrow. We'll probably have several shorts going over the strength or any, if any tornado warnings pop up on Sunday night and the Monday, we'll have that for you. And if not here, it'll be on our Climate Data Report Twitter as well. The rest of the country, quiet on the precipitation standpoint. Day 6 through 10 temperature outlook. Big axis in the south. Once it comes from the plains, it's going to shift south. It's going to be very hot under that dome of heat. And not bad in the west, not bad northeast, a little bit above average in Pacific Northwest. Same deal with the 8 to 14 days, above average in the south. Look at the northeast, below average. And then we come to precipitation, below average in the Great Lakes, Midwest, slightly above average in the Northeast, well above average in the West, 8 to 14 days, above average in the Pacific Northwest, below average in the South, on up through the Midwest, and I would say this might even need to be expanded into the Mid-Atlantic region as well, slightly above average in the Northeast, normal in Florida, normal in the Four Corners region. Alrighty, folks, that does it for today's climate update and today's update on Hurricane Hilary. We will have more updates throughout the weekend. We'll have at least one tomorrow, maybe multiple updates on Sunday as this unfolds. So we'll have to watch what happens here. If you're in California, start preparing now for the probability of flash flooding, maybe some wind, and tornado potential. If you like this content, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more content like this, subscribe to my channel down below. If you know anyone that needs to see this information, by all means, share this with them. And I will see you all again next time. Have a great weekend, everyone. Enjoy the weather where you're at. Hopefully it's a nice weather weekend for you. Thanks for watching.